G'day everyone, CMAC here. What's going on? So, my videos have been a little bit patchy lately. For instance, yesterday I didn't film because I didn't have my camera mounted to my helmet after the track day. I wasn't allowed to have it mounted out there. As well as before that, before I actually went out to the track, the rains have been floating around, so she's been a bit soggy on the roads. I haven't quite felt like taking my bike, so I jumped in the car instead, and obviously wasn't filming while I was in the car. Anyway, back now. Weather's pretty good in winter, so it was a little bit strange to see that rain come through the last week or so. It doesn't normally happen in winter in Australia. No, well, that's weather for you. So things should be back to normal now, or a bit more regular basis. Anyway, track days. Oh, let me tell you, they are definitely a thing that's going to be coming in the future in my life. That shit was so much fun. Like, I've done a lot of quite extreme sports, but nothing comes close to that. The only one that's in the same ballpark is the downhill riding that I do, but it's just so different. Like, oh, words can't even describe how awesome it was. One thing that took me by surprise with it was how exhausted I was after the track day. One thing that took me by surprise was how exhausted I was after the track day. I mean, out of all of the sports that I do, I've never been so wrecked the following day. And what was so strange was that it wasn't just my body being tired and exhausted from like using so much energy, but mentally, like, my brain was just mush. My eyes wouldn't work properly. That was a really weird one to have. My eyes not working properly. My eyes were basically just like a blur when looking at anything the next day. And especially whenever I tried to focus on anything, it made it worse. Like, my eyes just hurt so much more. My assumption as to why that's happened is because for the entire day, or a large portion of the day, I wouldn't have gone below 100 k's an hour. Nice. Not quite sure what that was. Motorbike, anyway. Yeah, I wouldn't have gone below 100 k's an hour, and just the fact that my eyes have been taking in information at that speed for almost an entire day, the following day, or even when I was like getting off the bike, everything, like, my eyes were pretty sore. But taking in information at that speed, yep, yawn. Basically made myself adjust to it. And so trying to adjust back to normal speed was just So strange. At least that's my assumption anyway. It's either that or it's just because of me straining my eyes, looking like out of the corner of them as I'm taking sharp corners and stuff like that. But the track day was insane. We met a guy out there who pulled up next to us. Well, because like me and my brother, we camped out there overnight. And geez, it got cold in the morning. It was funny, there was a lot of cloud around town overnight. And so that kept a lot of the warmth in. And at about midnight, yeah, like went to bed at about 9, 10 o'clock. And about midnight I woke up and was just like so sweaty because I had put on so many layers expecting it to drop to ridiculous temperatures. I had on all these layers and it just wasn't that cold, so I was sweating and had to jump out of my sleeping bags and take a whole lot of layers off. But then at about 2 o'clock in the morning, all the cloud floated away and the temperature just plummeted. I don't know how cold it actually got, but it would have been below zero. In the morning, when we woke up, we like checked the temperature with our tire temperature checking gauge, gadget, and it was at about 3 degrees in the morning, so she was a bit cool. But it was good actually out on the track with it being cold, because it means that when we were like out riding around getting sweaty, we actually didn't. It was a nice temperature to ride around in. But yeah, we met this guy who pulled up next to us in the morning, and throughout the day he was running pretty similar times to me and my brother, so we sort of got to know him pretty well, and we were mucking around down the track, sort of battling against each other. I had a bit of concern, so my brother was out there on a Supermoto Husky 510 with so 530 because he's boarded out. But yeah, I was a little bit concerned that I wasn't going to be able to beat him. That's all that I needed to do, was beat him. Yeah, all I wanted to do was make sure I was running faster times than my brother, was to beat my brother. We were mucking around talking a lot of shit beforehand, before we actually went out on track. I mean, I was pretty confident that I was going to run faster times. It's not really a track designed for a motard, but I wasn't certain that I was or not. So when we went out in the first session, he ran a 141 and I ran a 143. So I was like, oh geez, I'm not going to be able to beat my brother. And what was even more annoying was that he ended up getting put up with that time. He got put up into the faster group, so he's both started off in group 4. Damn, that's a nice car. Ferrari? I think it's a Ferrari. He got put up into the faster group. He was like the slowest or second slowest in the faster group, in one group up, group 3. Whereas I had to stay in group 4 with my time, and I was the fastest in group 4 at that stage then. I was like, god damn it, I better not get stuck in group 4 and he gets put up into group 3 and we like be separated the whole time. But next time I went out on track, I just made sure that I had like clear runs. There was one stage where I actually pulled into the pits for a bit just to make sure, because I got held up by somebody. I was like, oh, stuff it, I'm going to jump into pits and get a clean track. And then I ran, in that second session, I ran a 139.5. So I went faster, and over the whole time I was running fairly constant 139s, 140s for the rest of the day. And my brother was running basically low 140s. he just couldn't quite break into the 130, 139. But it was still pretty damn good for the sort of bike that he was on, the issues he was having. He had a lot of trouble with front end grip because the bike, he already had to pull it through the forks to make sure that it had the stability on the straights. But it ended up meaning that he didn't have enough pressure on the front tire around the corners, so he had it skipping out on him a little bit. Jeez, it was so much fun. There was one stage where I went out in front of him because he chucked the GoPro on. It would have been up in my last video because I'll put all of the footage from the event up before this. And yeah, he went out behind me and was filming me for a couple laps, and then the next time I went stuck the GoPro to the side of my bike as well and went behind him to film him. But he's definitely got a lot more practice on track than me, and as well as the sort of bike that he has, he could just out corner everyone. There was like one part that you'll see in the video, basically when we first go out on the track and I'm behind him. We get to one corner and all the sports bikes are on the left hand side coming into a right hand corner, basically taking the race line, and he's just like on the right hand side going into a right hand corner, like exactly what you wouldn't want to do, and just is able to stick that line, like comes in on the inside, goes around the corner, the whole corner on the inside, and just like he's able to keep enough speed in the corner while doing that he's not like holding anybody up either. It was pretty awesome. But yeah, so he does that and gets past his BMW 1000, and then I like for the rest of the session just could not get past it. I like was cornering far better than he was, but he could just monster me on the straights. There was some times where I would like let him go into a corner, like back off before the corner, let him go in sooner, and then hold my pace around it, and basically would come out so close to him and just be like on the limit of my bike, and he would just pull away. Like another part was when, I think it was in the first or second lap, going down the main straight, he pulls like a good 150, 200 meters on me, and within 2 corners I've caught right back up to his tail. But yeah, like, I mean, it was my first track day and it's not a race, so I wasn't gonna try and do anything silly to get past him. There's a couple times where I definitely should have, but not being as confident on the track as, say, my brother, I like decided to give it a miss and just sort of stuck behind him. For instance, the guy that we met while we were out there, he comes past and he takes both me and the BMW in one overtake, and just was able to like accelerate out of the corner and get him, whereas I couldn't. I just didn't have the power. Those tyres that I got though off my mate, Jesus, they are sticky. They were like glue. Jacob wants to race. Yeah, they were ridiculously sticky. Almost the entire day I never had the concerns whatsoever, never even had to think about my tyres not having enough grip. It was just about me like staying in control of the bike. But when I was battling the BMW, there was one time when I had the back tyre spin up on me, and it was, yeah, racing the Beamer. I came out of this corner and basically when I hit the apex, I just full throttled it to try and get as much gain on him as I could before the straight, and I had the back wheel spin a little bit, but it wasn't anything that I was concerned about. It was still like a manageable spin. I also need to tuned my suspension a little bit. My tyres, for most of the day, they were running pretty well, running at the right temperature. I was definitely cornering harder on the right hand side than the left because temperature was about 20 degrees different, but it still had a fairly nice wear on both sides on all tyres until like the last session or two. I need to play around with my rear shock as I was getting a couple patches of like good wear and then no wear. So I think that's my rebound that I need to play around with, but I need to look that up again and figure out which one it is that I need to adjust. I'm still so buzzing so much from the track day. I cannot wait for the next one. If you guys have not done a track day before, you have to get out there. It is so much fun. I need to get a quieter pipe soon so that I can get out to Lakeside or QR. It's funny, so like in my first session, it would have been on my second or third lap. We had gone out. Truck's not happy. We went out the night before and sort of checked out a couple corners, especially the first corner off the main straight, and could see where like the top guys were braking. They were braking just after the 50-meter mark, and so when I went out on my session, I was like, oh yeah, so if they're braking there, I can brake there and it won't be that different. So I decided to brake at the 50-meter mark, and geez, that scared the shit out of me. I had to brake so hard. I honestly didn't think I was going to be able to make the turn, the first turn. I just held so much brake. I just had to ease it on as strongly as I could. The back end was squirming around, the whole bike was squirming. And yeah, I was just like, okay, well, I can either go straight off into the grass or I'm just going to hook this in and hope for the best. So dropped the knee off and just tried to hold it as best as possible, and the bike held it fine, like with no dramas whatsoever, but geez, it scared the hell out of me. So that's definitely something I need to work on, is my braking, especially at like high speeds. What was funny was, with me doing that, I also had two people crash off that corner in front of me throughout the day. I had one guy who was in one of my sessions. He basically ran straight off into the grass and just kept going. Like I was following him down the straight, but I wasn't really looking at him. I just saw then dirt appear and I was like, the hell's that? And look up and see him. But I had to say to myself in my helmet, just don't look at him, don't look at him, don't look at him. Because I didn't want to get target fixation and pull off the track too. And then in the very last session that we did in the day, me and my brothers decided to switch bikes. He jumped on the R6 and I jumped on his motard. And I was just cruising around, sort of getting used to it, considering I hadn't really ridden it before, or at least not fast. And it was strange, like it was good, but it definitely wasn't as fun as the R6. I can see why he went to motards, because it's still quite a lot of fun while being a lot less expensive. But the amount of fun that I had on the R6 was just ridiculous. I had a grin from ear to ear. But yeah, so was cruising around, and the guy that we met out there, he had another mate but was running a fair bit slower. So he was in group 4, and when I was cruising around on the motard, he was behind me for most of the time, but I spoke to him after and he said that he was quite happy, like cruising behind me. He was happy at the pace that I was going at, whereas I thought I would have been holding a lot of people up because I wasn't used to the bike. Anyway, coming down the main straight in like one of the last laps, he decides to finally like go to overtake me on the main straight and gets past me. But he must have been thinking he could brake where I was braking on the motard, which definitely could not do on a heavy bike. I'm not sure what he was on, but it was on some sort of Street Fighter-ish thing. and he just like locked up. Both wheels were just skidding and squirming, and like must to let go. I thought he was going to crash, but he let go of the brakes just before he hit the dirt, so he was able to keep it upright around there. But it was pretty interesting. I thought he was going to bin it, and bin it hard. So just cruising on home now. Finished my day up at work. When I get home, I need to put a truing stand in the back of my car and take it back to my mate's place that I borrowed it off. I used it to true the rear wheel, well, to build up a new rear wheel on my downhill bike, but I haven't got around to building up the front one yet. Yeah, just it takes a fair bit of time, and I need to go past a bike shop and get some more spokes, and I've been busy with other things going on in my life. My brother sent me a couple pictures today from out at the track day. There was a couple of professional photographers out there, and he's chased them up to get some of the images and sent me through a few samples on Facebook, so I'm going to take a look at them when I get home. See which ones we potentially want to buy. I also need to buy a new clip for my GoPro, or I might buy a couple clips for my GoPro when I get home tonight. The one that locks down, the latch that locks down one side of it's broken on me. So it's still holding the GoPro secure, but not as secure as I'd like to. Come on, man, get in front of the truck. There we go. So I've got 1 bar left of fuel, and I get the feeling my fuel warning light's going to come on pretty soon, but fingers crossed it doesn't. I hope I can get home at least before it does. I don't feel like going and filling up right now, but I may have to. Actually, it may be easier for me to fill up now. Yeah, it probably will be. Actually, I know what I'm going to do. I was going to go past the shop and look at getting some sunglasses. Do I want to do that now? Yeah, I might as well do that now. Do that now, get some fuel, as well as take a look at some shirts maybe. Because I think they close at 6. It's about to be 5 now, so yeah, I've got plenty of time. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go past the shops and look at some clothes, as well as get fuel there. Because I'm a thinker. Just make sure that my baby's still there. Don't really want to be losing my GoPro. Cool, so here we are. Let's go and do some shopping and get some fuel. Is there a car coming? Nope. Ooh, motorbike. I shall park with him. Jesus, nice too. What are you doing? Are you dumb? I'm gonna go through. I'll take this one. Very nice bike. Nice and clean. Is that a turbo he's got on the side? I think it is. Looks very nice. Damn, I do love that bike. I want something like that too to cruise around on. It's like a work commuter, something like that. Anyway, I'm off. So, was able to get a couple pairs of sunnies, which is what I was after. Went around, took a look at a few different t-shirts, work shirts. Unfortunately, couldn't find any of them that I quite liked. I just remembered I need to go and get fuel too. Okay. Yeah, so was able to get a couple pairs of sunglasses, got like 3 pairs of sunnies. Generally buy quite a few pairs when I go to the shops. Find ones that I like, get a few of them, because sunglasses are something that I break on a fairly regular basis. So I just go to the shops, get a whole heap of ones that I like, and then break them over a period of say like 6 months, and then go and get a couple more. They're only cheap ones, so that way I don't care about them. The only thing that they have to do is be polarized, and that's all I care about. Oh, that's a bit of a bump there. Yeah, and went and took a look at a few t-shirts. But now I'm going to get some fuel. Cool, so all done and dusted. Got my fuel, got my sunglasses, didn't get my shirts. Now I'm on my way home, then need to take my truing stand, well, my mate's truing stand, back to him. Yeah, so a little while ago, one of my nice white shirts went and got blue stains all up the back of it from being in the wash with something. Something decided to leak some, I think it may have been a pen or something's leaked anyway. Whether it was another shirt or whether it was a pen or whatever it was, but it's left stains on a fair few of my white shirts. I was able to get it out of most of them, but like one of my favorite white shirts still has the marks on it. So they have the shirt there, but just not in the right size, which is annoying. So I'll just wait for it to eventually show up, or something else that I like to come up. So many modern dress shirts, well, they're not dress shirts per se, but they're like, I like sort of an in-between of a dress shirt and a going out collared shirt. What I want is plain colors, no patterns or anything, but just with maybe like 1 or 2 different colors to like accent it with, say, like trimming. I love my white shirts with black trimming. They're my favorite, and that's obviously the one that got stained, as well as just like plain white shirts but that have like a little bit of, say like I've got one which has oh, back up, wrong button, lapels on the shoulders, which I quite like. But yeah, ones like that. The most modern day shirts, collared shirts, seem to have like so many different like patterns and like shells or spirals or things on them, and I'm just, yeah, not a fan. Or honeycomb patterns. I don't like them. It's annoying. So I've just got to wait for the shirts that I like to come up. For instance, I got a new one a little while ago. That was a sort of navy blue shirt with white trimming around the collar and sleeves, which I quite like. It's a good one. One of my nicer ones at the moment. Holy shit. Look at the front of that car. I got fucked up. So I'm getting pretty close to home now, guys. If anything exciting happens, like I get pulled over by the cops, I'll let you know. Otherwise, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, and if you want to see more of what's going on in my life, subscribe. Anyway, CMAC out. Peace.